Wow, another close game brought by Solaire versus Skill Issue last match, which we had the honors of watching. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Valorant Game Changers Academy September edition, presented to you by Verizon and sponsored by AimLabs. We are here on day 2, match number 3. I am your host, Saki, joined by the lovely Tala and a new face on the desk, Ash. Ash, how are you?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm looking forward to top 8 coming up. We've got two teams on deck for today that I feel like are very familiar within the GCA community that have been actually looking for their big break out of quarterfinals.
And if you missed match 2 of the top 16, Solaire vs Skill Issue in a best of 3 with no decider map needed, Solaire won map 1 Icebox and map 2 Breeze. And not to mention, both teams played competitively and fought their spot in the top 16 matchups. Taller, you were honored to be there. Any quotes, any comments on it?
Definitely think that Solaire is a pretty resilient team. They're able to come back even when they do lose a lot of the rounds in a row, kind of get a grip on themselves and start adapting and learning what the other team is doing. And then it ends up netting them a lot more rounds, and they don't really falter off of a round loss or anything. Even if the scoreline is a little bit closer, they keep pushing forward. So I think Solaire is definitely a very powerful squad to go up against if you're even if it is a very close match.
And Ash, I want to hear, I know you weren't here, but I want to hear your opinions on it, implementing any type of winnable strats into future play.
I think that's really hard to say because, this is going to be going into like the first best of 3 now between Solaire and NMG Celeste. So considering the fact that I wasn't here, unfortunately, for the previous matchup, it's a little bit more difficult for me to put an opinion on that. But regardless, would love to see that whoever comes out more adaptable in the end, I think, is the one who's going to take it home.
I do agree with that opinion of adaptability. And speaking of adaptability, a match that we had not seen was NMG Celeste versus Moonshot, who brought it into overtime. Absolutely mind-blowing. Not double, not triple, but quadruple. And this just goes to show how hard these Game Changer Academy teams are standing in the bracket and how hard they are fighting for a position. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the bracket holds. Take it away, Tala. What are we seeing?
So we're seeing on the other side of the bracket, we already saw Tactical Throwers today against ID Ruby, who did incredibly well in a 2-0 fashion that brought themselves to quarterfinals. Along with everyone else is EQ Cerise, Revival, NMG Celeste, Solaire, Dart Monkeys, which is pretty much a household name at this point in the Game Changers Academy scene, and 26 Rising and Overkill. So right now, looking at NMG, Celeste, and Solaire, I feel like both of these names, like Ash mentioned before, are pretty familiar to those who keep up with the Game Changers scene, and neither of them have really made it out of quarterfinals just yet in the Game Changers Academy.
Absolutely. And what are some teams you think we could potentially be seeing with huge rivalries, Ash?
Ooh, when it comes down to huge rivalries, this is actually, I think, a tough question to answer right now because of the fact that within roster mania, before GC3, now before the next season of Game Changers as well, we're actually seeing a lot of new faces on even familiar teams to us. Talit did mention Dart Monkeys, which is essentially a household name now within VCT Game Changers. They have the core, I believe, 2 or 3 players on their roster and have now like completely swapped up what used to be a total core 5. So I think that honestly, this Game Changers Academy and the next Game Changers Series 3 will actually be the setting stone for seeing what new storylines we're going to see in the coming year.
And you are right. We are so blessed, and we are given the chance to have a potential match between Dart Monkeys and seeing Solaire play if met at the Grand Finals. But before the Grand Finals, it is between our next match, who will be between NMG Celeste versus Solaire. The stakes here are high for all teams, and none of them are in any standing to take any L whatsoever. They're all, they're all staying calm and they're turning up for these fights and for these spots. And what can you tell me about a team like NMG Celeste, Tala?
Well, NMG Celeste, they have basically, I would say, what is a core three, with the fact that they do have, I believe it's Clutch, Gigi, and Akame, who have very consistently been a part of this roster, and then the other two players have been switched around quite a bit. Today, it's going to be Teddy as Fluffy and Scene that are going to be the last two players who are going to be on the NMG Celeste roster, and they're a pretty consistent, I would say, roster amongst the Game Changers scene, but they haven't really had that big break. They haven't really been able to push past any of these really larger household names, such as Dark Monkeys, such as even Team Mystic Venus, maybe and they haven't really been able to make it that far, but they definitely are very consistent.
And something I am really excited to see is how these team compositions are going to come out and adapt with the maps. Let's go ahead and take a look at the picks and bans for both Celeste and Solaire. Ash, what can you tell us about this?
Well, right off the bat, what I do want to mention is the fact that, we just did get to see the chance of Solaire on stream earlier today. They did go 2-0. Both teams actually went 2-0 in top 16 there. But for Solaire, they did just play on Icebox and Breeze. And for those to be the first two maps coming out in this best of 3 series, this team's got to be feeling warm.
Right, and Solaire is a team that is always carrying their weight. So once again, seeing Breeze and Icebox coming into play, which is such a common map for today's streamed matches, is going to be something brilliant and exciting to watch. But then again, having a decider like Fracture is also going to be exciting. So Tala, tell us a little bit more about the deciding map, Fracture, and why you think these two teams picked it.
Well, I think that Fracture, you have Solaire, who is a team that likes to run the Neon, like we just saw. They like having Hypers run in with that Neon, be able to make so much space. And I think because Hypers is so consistent on that agent, they really want to pick a map that really plays to Neon's strengths. And Haven is one of them. And Solaire banning Bind, which is actually one of their better win rate maps, instead, but NMG deciding that they want to ban Haven, so they force them onto Fracture. But Fracture is still a very strong map for their agent composition.
Absolutely. And before I let the two of you go, Tala and Ash, I would like to hear your predictions. Let's start off with Ash.
Oh my god, I hate predictions so much. But when it comes down to it, honestly, I'm proud of both of these teams for making it over to quarterfinals. This is definitely the storyline of who can actually break out of this kind of glass ceiling, because neither of these teams have really made it to semifinals in any recent events, but both showing very great improvements overall. But I want to put my money on NMG Celeste just because of the fact that they had an extremely long, drawn-out top 16 matchup, and I feel like coming right off the back of that, you're going to have that momentum behind you and want to push forward.
And how about you, Tala? Any thoughts?
I mean, I definitely think that Solaire seems like they have more experience on both Breeze and Icebox, especially in the recent matches. However, I think I might have to agree with Ash because NMG Celeste has been very warmed up at this point, and as well as the fact that their win rate is a little bit higher based purely off statistics on Icebox. But I mean, it's possible that Solaire make it a very, very, very close one, and when we go to map 3, I feel like everything might be up in the air.
Now let's go ahead and see if your guys' prediction is correct. I do believe that Agent Select is ready for the two of you, so I'm going to let you, Tala and Ash, take it away.
Thank you so much. And now we've got game number 1 underway. Tala, we've got Breeze coming up first, and right off the bat, I want to make note of Hypers on that Neon pick. Can be so disruptive as far as timings and everything like that goes.
Yeah, I think we saw Hypers, but this was mostly on the attack where Hypers was able to make tons of space in terms of going onto the sites using the fast lane, aggressing down halls, and just getting into really tough positions to bail out the rest of their team by taking out those key players on especially A site. On B site, a little less so, but usually on the B site, you do see some late lurks coming in on Solaire's side to be able to make sure that the tunnel players are neutralized on the retakes. But on the defense, Solaire is a team that really, really likes to flank, especially on B-side takes.
Well, we'll see if that does end up being the case this time around. Just playing that slow, steady default, but like you mentioned, it looks like we're going to see some potential aggression towards double doors. Actually going to fall back, so I'm going to have to hold my tongue on that one, but Scene's already all up and personal here in back sight, fighting it out with Hypers, but Hypers will come out on top. Now a 4v3 situation. NMG Celeste, at the very least, they do still have Teddy online here, so Toxic Screen expended, but controllers still available to cut off line of sight.
Now, they've been pushed off of that B site and dissuaded, but the fact is that they have Teddy is Fluffy's Toxic Screen already down on B, and it's going to be a lot harder to cover the angles on A, but the rotations haven't fully been made by Solaire just yet. They're still kind of waiting around towards this B side, but
30 seconds
Darrow
left.
actually completely passed by the team members, but because of that poison orb, they're gonna know someone's there. But Akame so good on the trigger here, and now Leah going to try and use the flash drive to delay the push onto A. It's only 10 seconds left over with the timing in the red. Leah has gotten these players down so low. 2 HP on GG, still manages to get that spike down, and Akame now going back towards halls, trying to anchor Hypers versus GG. Both health points in the red, but Hypers is going to be the one to take Solaire their first round.
Right down to the wire, and the pistol things got scrappy, but now we've got that buy-up round to come out from Solaire. NMG Celeste will be, well, I mean, they got the spike initiated, so who knows? They might go for one of those risky buys, but yes, maybe. Akame's thinking about it. She's debating. She's like, am I going to go with the Marshall? But regardless, Tala, I mean, despite being down 2 players right off the bat there, NMG Celeste did a really good job, I think, to give Solaire a run for their money in that pistol round.
Yeah, Solaire definitely got a little bit nervous in that pistol, but now having the better guns should be able to secure a second one. But this is an interesting strategy from NMG Celeste. Walking all the way up halls, right to doors. Not going to open it just yet. Scene just priming that dash. Going to try and take that early peek. Knows exactly where the... Oh my god, they're actually able to cover it. They know where it is, but they're just walking through. Oh, they're not going to expect Leah there, though. Finding 2 Habibis on the way there as well. The Guardian claims another life, and it's a second, a third headshot. Nicely done from a Habibti.
Whew. I like the idea from NMG Celeste, you know, but
Yeah.
the other risk with throwing down that poison orb is the fact that it does cover,
makes a
but if
sound.
anyone is playing far back towards the nest or whatnot, they see that pop and they're like, okay, we know exactly what's going on. We can just sit back and hold, right? What I would have liked to see potentially coming out from a Hall's push like that is maybe the Toxic Screen going up towards that metal door, and then you kind of try and pop flash out, you know, with that KO utility. But regardless, we're back to a default spread here now for NMG Celeste. And Hyper is already getting aggressive here towards mid, taking this pillar control.
we see they're trying to play a little bit more forward, especially since this is a bonus. They really want those short ranges, especially on the Spectres. But it seems like they're backing off of mid, going to play a little bit safer back in the tunnels and just waiting for that toxic screen to be placed down. But the poison orb going up once again to try and stall on the B site, but there's not really a lot of information for either side.
No, but some info will be gained now towards the A side for Solaire, right? So you're going to see Taro pushing out the drone, always with the follow-up from Scene as well to get towards back ladder. Now clearing out all the way on backside, and you can see that Solaire just playing the retake game. It is their bonus round after all, so looking to retake full force here 5v5.
They just missed Hypers on the elbow push, and now it's just like ships in the knife, but Teddy's Fluffy gonna go to check it. Not going to be needed. GG takes that one down, but Chai on the other side, they're finding their picks. Taro is going to ring back, but now, ooh, nicely done from Clutch to find two, and a third for Clutch as well. Now it's on to Taro for a 1v2 situation, and I would not doubt there are lineups to be had by Teddy is Fluffy. Taro trying to push through. Teddy claims that last pick, and NMG, they find their first round on the bonus.
That was well played from both sides. First round on that anti-eco for NMG Celeste, but you gotta respect Taro for the fact that she did end up pushing out. That was really the only option that you have when you are facing, you know, a 2v1 situation. One of the players does have the lineup, so you're gonna have to look to get a pick early before actually going for that defuse. Otherwise, it's impossible, right? But now going into this next round, we're gonna have Solaire with their first full buy on the board. Taro saved up for the that operator. Not quite glass skin, will have the light shield. And Clutch, early knife to clear out close A main to secure that ultimate orb under her belt. Just a typical default spread. You can see though that Solaire is really not investing as much towards mid. They're kind of relying on that conditioning from the previous two rounds for the pressure to already be given. And NMG Celeste just holding pretty far back, not looking to aggress. Likely already worried that Hypers is up close somewhere hiding.
Ooh, Leah going to use that 0 point. Unfortunately, doesn't find any info there at all. So they still really don't know what's happening in mid since they don't have that Nest player. But now they're going to use the null command, and that's going to give a lot of information away. Chai able to take down Scene from the other side of the map on the top of tunnel, and they weren't expecting it, so now they lose that jet. But Clutch going to clean up a little bit. Chai also unable to find one. Akame going to try and clean up around elbow, but Hypers has got somewhere to be, dashing over to those double doors. And now Habibi finding the clone kill onto GG. Still a 3v3 situation, but it's the lineup Larry over here. Teddy is going to get those mollies down on the spike as Hypers is trying to defuse. Last one to be found is Teddy, and Habibi is able to get that pick. They're just waiting for this to fade away, and Hypers is going to be able to claim the defuse.
Once again, super well played here on the retake by Solaire, right? They know at this point that Teddy is going to always kind of try and play those lineups if there's at least equal players across the board in that post-plant situation. So the only way you can counter that is to push out, deny those post-plant mollies, or at least push out enough so the threat is looming in there, right? And now we're gonna see an eco round, half buy coming out from NMG Celeste. Not too much to work with, so maybe just looking to do as much damage as possible. Again, conditioning to come out with that 0 point. Nobody on Solaire to be caught out in that close angle. And with that ult orb in hand here, this is going to give Akame the ability to pop that tool to false here in this eco round.
Akame might be the equalizer, but they need to expect the push from deep spawn. Hypers is in such good position, and I don't think anyone expects it. They don't. Trying to find two hypers on the board for the third. A whiffed shot from the tour de force as well. Hypers for 3, and all of a sudden NMG Celeste. This round just seems so impossible. Still a 2v4, but avoiding the 0 point is huge to not take that tour de force off the board, Ash.
Ooh, this positioning from Teddy could be huge, though. Might be able to isolate a 1v1 situation. Chai pushing out, unfortunately. That ADS is going to be the downfall, and Habibti holding the cross here. 1 HP in the hands of Akame, and to look away in that situation is going to give the spike over towards the defenders. Teddy is Fluffy alone facing the Hunter's Fury. Pop to zone off, bide more time. Because at this point, I feel like Solaire knows that they can just run down the clock. Still going to peak regardless, and 5 HP. This round looks all said and done here. Solaire, the 4th one on the board.
Well, they're able to secure the pick in the end, but this is pretty expensive for Solaire, especially those last few peaks in the awkward fights, because then they rebuy into the 1,000 credit full shields, and I feel like it's a little bit damaging to the economy. Chai themselves can't really buy full unless being able to request from the teammate here, and it's still even economy across the board. Now it's a gun buy for everyone, and on the other hand they have the overdrive as well as the Viper's Pit on both sides, and then the Hunter's Fury for GG. I honestly think the Hunter's Fury in the last round might have been a little bit overkill and when they could have gone for the peaks, but I guess they just didn't want to risk it there. So now one less ultimate on the board, but they do have the Viper's Pit to fall back on, and that was such a good ping. What?
Huge first pick to come out too, because now Solaire no longer has smokes available, right? But I mean, that's not really going to matter when you have Clutch pushing all the way towards yellow to get a second pick on the board. Now NMG Celeste in this post plant, warding off all of the last 3 members of Solaire here by double doors.
Yeah, all 3 of them stacked up in double doors. They don't really have any control over the map at all, and they kind of have to manually look every single direction because they're coming in from the middle. Oh, Hypers, though, nice shot. Not going to know if they're expecting another one to be in cave, and there's also one anchoring by the right pyramid. So Leah now hitting the headshot, but still 1 player left standing. It's a Sova. No time, even if they decide to hold it down right now. And GG just looking for that last final pick. Not able to secure it, but Leah still goes down with the ship.
Okay, slowly closing this gap. It's been 2-for-1 ratio of rounds per team thus far. And we'll see if the pattern does continue. But the fact that NMG Celeste, even on the rounds that they aren't able to secure, they do often take quite a few guns out of the hands of Solaire, right? So for that reason, you're going to see the economy situation get really tight, trading round per round. Now Solaire going to be the one on that eco, and like you mentioned, with the eco being so close, that Hunter's Fury that was expended 2 rounds ago would have looked probably mighty nice in an eco round like this. And NMG Celeste now leaning again towards the B side. That drone to come clear through, but it's the first time that, okay, I was gonna say it's the first time that Scene hasn't pushed right on with it, but Taro gonna get that first pick. It's called a headhunter for a reason.
That's really nicely done. On an eco, they're already having 2 off the board, and Taro peeks for more. A little bit of a greedy peek for Scene, taking them down, and now Habibti as well. They've just evened out the numbers. Chai on the flank, though, has this gun in the hands, and Hypers, all that they have to do is peek. The vulnerability does so much for this team, and now it's all of a sudden just Scene left on their own. Chai with the 3K, and I have to give it to them. MVP for this round, the vulnerability, the damage onto the planter, and such a huge flank to get the gun in the hands. Solaire now bringing themselves up to 5.
Massive thrifty round to come through, because this is also now three rifles being carried over to the next round, right? And I was talking about how the economy was close on the side of Solaire. Same story goes for NMG Celeste. So they're not going to be able to buy in this coming round. It was important for them to secure that anti-eco. And this puts Solaire in now a much more comfortable position if you look at the money that they have amassed for about the next 2 rounds now. And as I say that, looks like NMG Celeste might opt for... Okay, they sold it. They're going to offer a Hero Guardian, though. It was originally a Vandal.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Guardian probably a safer bet economy-wise, but Scene also going for the Blade Storm, which is also a pretty safe bet economy-wise, but let's see if they can get anything done here. Just sitting behind those boxes in B main, trying to get in good position, and the rest of the team kind of sitting in elbow, all stacked up. They don't really have control of this map at all. They are looking to get into tunnel with the help of Akame going through that elbow position, but they're still very hesitant. They've at least pinged out that one player on the B site, though. They know that Habibi is playing there, and it seems like it's just the Sova alone, so they are looking to aggress with the tailwind. There's the utility just being dumped onto the B site. Scene thought she saw one, but finds another. Hyper's immediate trade, though. And now it's just a retake situation as the Viper's Pit goes out. Clutch with the Ghost onto Chai. Hyper's trading right back with the Vandal. And Akame picking up a better gun to take the fight onto Hyper's. There's the slide from the high gear. Taro, unfortunately, not able to find Gigi with the Guardian, but 2v2 with the Viper's Pit active. Leah whiffs the shot onto the main player. And now it's just left up to Hyper's in a 1v2. Trying to find the Viper. Spots them out, but doesn't confirm the kill. Now chasing with the high gear, tapping the spike, gets pinged by the recon bolt. There's not much to be done with the time so low and with only 1 HP in the decay. GG finally closes it out with a shot from the Guardian.
A scrappy round across the board, but all ultimates pop there by NMG Celeste found their value. The Viper's Pit and Scene with at least that opening pick with the Blade Storms as well. So now we're going to actually see right off the back of that round when going into their next buy, NMG Celeste are looking to call a timeout here, Tala.
Likely a good idea considering that how down to the wire each of their rounds are. They're not allowed to build up such a good economy. And I feel like we just saw 2 thrifties back to back, even though NMG Celeste had a few buys up, and they also expended an ultimate in order to get themselves in, 2 ultimates actually, with the Blade Storm included. So I feel like they're finding it very hard to get a foot into the door of either of these sites, and I think that might be attributed into the fact that they are not really taking a lot of mid control, and when they do, they don't seem to have a lot of awareness for the other side of the map. Like when they're walking up elbow, they can get shot from double doors and vice versa.
Ooh. Well, we'll see what actually ends up coming to fruition here in this next round, right? But NMG Celeste, I feel like we saw them try a couple more like gimmicky pushes before falling back to the tried and true, just like site splits and whatnot. I feel like now we're going to see them moving over towards the A side, and early on, right off the back of that recon bolt, Hyper's aggressing relay bolt in hand, but not waiting for it to land. So Akame gets the first blood with the operator, looking for a second now, and Solaire all of a sudden are falling apart. The push denied on the flank.
The flank now gone, going to make it a lot harder, but Solaire, Chai finding 2, a spray transfer onto the players on the right pyramid. Now Terra with only the tour de force, going to be the last one alive for Solaire. NMG Celeste deciding to go for the rotation, baby. No, they're coming back, but I feel like this is such a tough decision because Terra is right here. Oh, never mind. Made too much noise, just started running. Akame, nice calling there in order to get themselves back onto that A site and watch for the rotation. made them a little antsy, and I think NMG Celeste can pat themselves on the back for that one. Still a little bit too close for the comfort, I would say, because you have still only 2 players left alive, and the good thing is one of them has the op, but the bad thing is you're still having a player going down to 0 credits in order to buy back into the rifle.
Yeah, that's the thing when rounds are so back and forth, right? No one can get comfortable. You're really going to be on your toes the entire time, and to try and garner an early round advantage, Chai will be popping that Viper's Pit right off the bat here in B main. I like how that is used in conjunction with the mid wall to cut off that line of sight. That also allows, I believe, Hypers to get, you know, that mid control uncontested if so desired. But for now, NMG Celeste, they're holding back, waiting. No early drone out towards the B side yet. And the first drone we'll actually be seeing is Habibti, able to spot out Scene here in Elbow.
They know that there's at least a little bit of presence, so they're going to go ahead, invest that toxic screen, and help them cover from the doors. But oh my god, Akame unfortunately doesn't connect the shot onto Hypers. Now knows that there's a lurk coming in from mid, and they're going to invest the null command. Clutch goes huge with 2. Chai is going to trade it back, but it's still a 2v2 situation. A possible res available, but I think they're just trying to thirst that kill, and now it's still a 2v2. Maybe with the help of the Tour de Force something can happen, and it does. Hypers goes down. It's a redemption for the Wift operator shot, and Akame, what a flick, saving that round from the clutches of Solaire.
All tied up here 5-5. And we got 2 rounds left here before we swap sides. At the very least, NMG Celeste can look really comfortable going into these last 2 rounds. They've got that full buy. Solaire here are going to be on this Thrifty, and I mean, both should have full buys going into the next one, but NMG Celeste a lot more comfortable knowing that they have a little bit more to work with. We do have 2 ultimates online here, as we have the tac timeout now being called by the side of Solaire. That's going to be the null command and the Hunter's Fury there for GG Tala.
It's going to be a little bit tough for Solaire to execute their strategies fully, though, since it is going to be an eco round for them going into this, and having only those sheriffs and a single null command ready for them to be able to get themselves onto the site is going to be a little bit tough. I think Solaire does have a little bit of a problem when it comes to respecting the operator, because they know that they were just like Akame in that last round, just shot a shot from double doors, and yet Chai decided to follow up from that same position instead of going around or even throwing a poison orb or using some utility to block it off. So it was a little bit of a round that might have been thrown away when it could have been winnable, but it's also the fact that it seems that they're trying to get aggressive, and once they do, they don't really check if if Celeste has left a lurk. But what? Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, Terra just narrowly ducked the edge of the 0 point, so not getting caught out with it. Still going to be able to use the headhunter here in this fight, but Akame knowing exactly what her positioning is. Okay, the rendezvous away, so out scot-free for now, but A-Site completely given up. Solaire, I guess, in that last tac timeout, talking about their next buy round, but also about this save, looking to play the full retake game here. And with the toxic screen placed to split up pyramids, a lot of backside control will be given over towards Solaire.
Ooh, Leah with the kill with the fragment nade, and Chai just able to hold the flick on Teddy, so denying any chance of the post plant, but Scene is still going to be spraying down the members of Solaire. They're going to try and get the resurrection up, and Habibi is able to find one. Akame now only having this operator. Scene just get that kill after Akame finishes the round. No time to resurrect the KO. And an operator at that angle, I feel like they're just bound to win.
At the same time, though, gotta commend the fact that Solaire just had a really nice thrifty round. Well, I guess not a thrifty round because they didn't secure the W, but a nice eco round, right? They were able to get 4 guns out of the hands of NMG. Celeste really contests that post plant, and Akame, I mean, if one other shot was landed, if a bullet hadn't gone astray, she only had, I believe, 10 HP to her name, but now going into the last round before you do swap sides, a little bit more faster scaling here on the side of NMG Celeste towards mid.
You see that scene's already pushed up right next to elbow, and Chai has done the same. They're just trying to hold a little bit more aggressively towards that B side. Noticing though, Solaire usually does these interesting stacks where they have 3 players towards one site or the other, and there's usually only a single player who stays and anchors the other one. But now after a very, very quiet beginning, they're just starting to explode onto this A site. Tara, with an op of her own, is going to try to do the same thing that Akame's been doing to them.
Chai just going for the spray and pray. Gonna be good for 1. The Huntress Fury to secure another, and luckily Akame rendezvous right out of that site. That was a pixel off there, and now Chai just whittling it down the HP of Akame with that molly. It's all up to Teddy is Fluffy. The high gear, the slide, and Hypers comes out on top.
Hyper's only 3 HP left over. These are some risky plays from Solaire's Neon, but this time it pays off. 6-6 half on the defense, and I think Breeze is actually a pretty tough map to defend on, despite the choke points that are tiny on the B site. The mid is so large, and it's so easy to get some really good positionings from attackers or defenders that are trying to get into the sites. And 6-6, it's basically a slate wiped clean as they switch the sides.
Ooh. You talked about Solaire enjoying their mid control. We already can see several members on this team posted up towards mid here. Hypers maybe even looking for an early double doors pick right off the bat. I'm interested to see if they will scale, continue to aggress towards A side, or just try and push up towards Nest. And looks like we're about to find our answer here. Poison Orb for the cross. It's a straightforward double doors hit here for the side of Solaire.
Ooh, Hyper's able to find 1 by Hall's door. Chai a 2 of their own. And now they have the entirety of a site to plant where they please. It seems that they're trying to send some players towards Halls so you can get a nice open plant from that position. And Akame only able to find 1. Habib is going to go for the double peek. Teddy is Fluffy though. 1v2 already narrowed it down. And we see Leah in a pretty good position. Taro on the site. Leah definitely knows that Teddy is Fluffy's there.
The timing!
The shots! Not there. It's a frenzy. 24 HP. Taro full health with the headhunter. And it's going to be the classic, though, that wins it out. 7-6. Solaire with the first round.
I'm a really big fan of that yellow toxic screen that comes out towards A for those double door splits, because, you know, you go for your standard split through double doors and a cave, you normally see the toxic screen being thrown towards the right pyramid on site, but that always gives so much more backside space for the defending team to work with, right? So cutting off towards yellow allows you to keep a lot more real estate for yourself in the post plant, allows a lot more freedom to set up as well, and I really respected that site flip in the plant. But as I say that, NMG Celeste completely stacked here towards the B side, already looking to push out to overwhelm, but after seeing the shots from that Phantom, will elect to fall back because Solaire, they've bought up pretty strong.
Yeah, NMG are just crowding towards that B site, and they're going to expend the 0 point at the very least, so there isn't much utility going out from Solaire's side. They've already put down the toxic screen. It's one that doesn't really allow them to have too much backside control, but Habibi alone, that actually isolated the 1v1 for Habibi, is able to find 2, but not the third. Scene with the classic is going to shut down the flank watch, but Taro is still there looking behind, and Shy is about to round the corner of Cave. Not sure if that was caught out. The 0 point actually misses Shy, still anchoring in the cave, but now Akame does have a Phantom despite only being 1 HP. Shy knows there's another one rounding, and just one shot, it's a headshot as well to pick up Akame. I think there was a Phantom left back in cave though, unfortunately, so they might not be able to buy back in.
At the very least, we did see the Vandal carried over there by Chai, but if you look at the economy on the side of Solaire, in their buy-up round, and now this going into their bonus, we actually only had those 2 players investing in that round. Everyone else essentially saved, right? So this is actually going to allow Solaire to have a strong bonus going into this next round. And as I say that, seeing everyone on the team here postured up towards B, looking like a straightforward split. That's going to be the fast lane to come out to clear out ladder here for the side of Hypers, and Teddy is Fluffy looking to rat here in backside.
Ooh, Hyper is already very, very far in, and this is pretty much traditionally what we saw in this last map with Breeze from Solaire. Hyper is going incredibly aggressive with the help of the relay bolts and the fast lane, and now it's 3v4 on the retake. Still not too bad considering Solaire, it is their bonus, but a lot of them have bought back into the rifles. Now it's spotted out Hyper's back castle, just popping around, try and bait out the peeps, but ooh, all 3 of them just going through the same channels and taking each one down methodically. The BB is going to try and do some work with the shock darts. Oh, no.
Even with a double shock to go down, Juju was whittled down to only 12 HP, not even securing the kill with the shocks, and that's the nerf in action right there. Shock darts used to be a little bit stronger, and now it's like if you're just on the outside of the bloom of the ability, you're just not taking nearly as much as previously. So unfortunately did not quite hit their mark there, and Solaire, unfortunately, not able to secure that next round. This makes their 4th rounds on the board. Another wonky buy, very similar to the last one that we just saw, but it's also a risk because, you know, you're not at full power with those rifles.
All 5 of Solaire's members stacked up an elbow. Didn't even look towards Akame. And Taro just goes down for free. It's the Viper's pit to get them out onto that B site. Hypers is in such a good position. Going to round around the boxes. Oh, thought that they killed Teddy is Fluffy. And Teddy is Fluffy is able to actually spray down the Spectre to find the kill onto that Neon. Baseline coming in from scene.
Spike down.
Yeah,
Leah.
the flank was really nice, but the pacing has just like completely slowed down now, despite the Viper's pit that did go online, right? Habibti's just riding on site, as we're gonna see the other member of Solaire making a mad dash towards A now to re-clear. Likely hearing comms from Habibti that site has been garnered, and NMG Celeste very split on defensively right now. No. Please tell me. There's no way.
What?
This ring around the rosy. Habibti comes out on top with the 3K, but that got messy. With both of these members low HP, this round could be anyone's. First snake bite already expended.
What? It doesn't go for the lineup. It just takes out the poison orb, sprays on through. Solaire, nicely done there by Chai to secure the round. And now going on into the next one, NMG Celeste, they are missing quite a bit of firepower. They have Scene's Blade Storm available, so it seems like that's what they're going to use in order to try and even out the odds, but I think the odds are definitely not in Scene's favor.
Money situation's still weird across the board. Solaire continuing to force up. Obviously, it has been working out in their favor and whatnot. And then NMG Celeste being on this save, looking to push out. So much info gathered by that dart as well. First blood into the hands of NMG. Snake bite to continue to slow. Teddy is Fluffy with this stinger. Unfortunately not able to glean a kill, but will secure quite a bit of damage. And seen to reposition now. Punished by Hypers, waiting. Always diligent watching the flank.
They really have that dedicated flank clutch, despite the fact that they do have that trademark. And now we have, is that all three of them just funneling into their flank? I'm not sure if the trademark has been spotted or maybe it was recalled, but Hypers doesn't know which way to look just yet. But here's the footsteps coming in. They don't expect someone to be playing this close. The relay bolts go out, but the concussion isn't going to do anything when Clutch still hits a shot. And now it is going to be both the null commands. I'm actually not sure if they both come out. I believe they have, though. And NMG Celeste, they have another ultimate in the form of the Tour de Force. And Taro goes down. It's all left up to Leah. The time is so low. I'm not even sure if they get it.
Thrifty.
Oh my gosh.
0.04 here for the Thrifty round. Tala, that was...
What?
Damn, that's tough. I mean, Leia, if only able to delay a little bit longer, would have been a different story, but right down to the wire. Can't really be to blamed for that as one person, but now advantage back over into the hands of Solaire after NMG worked so hard to tie things up. Oh wait, what am I even talking about? Sorry. You know what, I'll let you take it over.
Oh my gosh, I just watched. That was the most unfortunate overdrive of Hyper's life. All you have to do as a KO, throw a knife there. They're not going to destroy it. They're too focused on killing you. And then all of a sudden, I don't have a gun anymore. And then down goes Hypers. But now, once again, it's Leah left on her own. Sees one. Trying to rotate around the pyramid to go for a safe plant. GG, I don't know if that is a shock dart or... I was suspecting it was a shock dart, but it's actually a Kame that just swings out from the right side to get a kill.
Equalized once again here. NMG Celeste not looking to allow Solaire to take their map pick so easily. Every round has been, honestly, ending in a pretty scrappy fashion for the most part. And, I mean, NMG Celeste, I was talking about it a little bit in the pre-show, they're also right off of a huge, long overtime game there that secured that to them 2-0 in round of 16.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're definitely out to be warmed up, but maybe a little fatigued at the same time. But now they're on the defense. They have an operator, and I feel like Akame has been so reliable with that gun for NMG Celeste. Just being on the defense, having that advantage of not having to aggress a site and just being able to hold defensively is really nice for NMG Celeste. But now it's the fast lane once again through the double doors onto the site scene. Tries to find one. Hypers does get neutralized, but still it is Leah and Taro just pushes right through that. And now mid Hunter's Fury, GG falls. Akame, this is a really good angle. I really like this angle, but they are not even planting for that part of the pyramid. So no capitalization off of that position.
No, but I really like how Solaire, once they do have site control, they're not afraid to flip site and whatnot, right? But Kame with the operator in hand might even just look for an exit frag or two. Looking to swap over to this Vandal in just a moment. Nah, just gonna save. Okay. Yeah, you got IGL GG calling in the back. Like, okay, let's save this off for the next round. Let's hold it back a little bit.
Only
it's 1v3. Yeah, exactly. Try to take that advantage into the next one if you can, but that push out from Taro through halls was nasty because really wouldn't have expected it through the poison orb, and I think that's why Sova felt so safe pulling out that ulti.
Yeah, I definitely feel like they were expecting a Hall's push to the door rather than actually aggressing down into their spawn. So GG was definitely taken off guard by that one. Now NMG Celeste, they still have the guns for this round. Having that op is a nice plus, and they also have the Viper's Pit. I expect there is going to be some kind of early Viper's Pit coming out, especially on the A site, and Solaire has a good read on it. They're instead looking to get towards that B site, avoid the 0 point early into the round as well, Ash.
Slow, steady. We've seen this same B main push once again. Slow in the early round, then you got Hypers dashing straight on towards site with the fast lane. However, not quite enough this time around, not able to win out that 50-50. Regardless, we're equalized here in a post-plant situation. Shock darts come out, and Leia will be popping the null command to stave off the retake a little longer.
Leia just sitting on the spike plant, hoping to delay the site. Taro very far back, unfortunately doesn't get the shot, but Leah's right there to peek, swing off the contact. And now NMG Celeste in a 2v3 situation. Leah denying the information but giving her own position away, and Okame swings off the 0 point. Now it's all left up to GG though. Still a 1v2 situation at a disadvantageous position, especially with the shock darts going out, but the shots do miss. There's still no time. A pick swinging to the side of Habibi, and Solaire finding their 11th round.
I feel like Solaire in those post-plant situations have just been pretty unstoppable for the most part. I mean, it's hard to say that at the same time because NMG Celeste, their round wins on the defensive side have been defuses, but especially for, I think, the B site takes, that's where Solaire has just really been shining. NMG Celeste have kind of just been able to get really good reads over onto the side of Solaire on those A post plants, making it a little bit more difficult for them on the retaking side, but now we're going to see a second timeout here being called by NMG.
NMG Celeste now once again on a save. They have to give up this round because if they are unable to capitalize from a buy, then they will be left without any money on match point. They are pretty close to some ultimates, 3 away from Akame's Tour de Force and 1 away from both the Bladestorm as well as the Null Command. I think Scene's job for this round is just to try and get either an ultimate orb, a pick, get that Bladestorm online, and capitalize as much as possible to keep Solaire off that match point.
All good points. Investments into those would be huge. Also, potential investment over towards Akame as well. Try to get that Tour de Force even for the next round. But on an eco, once again, NMG Celeste looking to push out towards the B side. For 3 will be stacked here in elbow. All revealed, but the pop flash to come through regardless. Will stave off any kills for a little longer, but first blood still go into the hands of Solaire here, and the reflank from Taro will secure another pickup.
Spike planted.
Scene is able to get out of the clutches of the recon bolt, but still no kill or ult or still classic. The retake with the Viper's Pit up, and I might call that a bit overkill, but you never know what to expect on a Thrifty. Like those 2 shots from GG right through the boxes onto the 2 players of Solaire. 2v3 situation. Scene now with the Vandal. There's a pop flash coming through from Leah, and Scene has to back off a bit more. Leah tries to go for the wall bangs, but in the end, it's a forced swing because of Taro's spray, and Leah is able to secure the final pick.
Match point here for Solaire in the first map of this best of 3 series here for top 8 or quarterfinals, if you will. Solaire looking to close things out here. NMG Celeste, at the very least, get to play for this overtime on a bye round. And because their money is in such an awkward position, I still do want to see some investment maybe going over towards Akame, trying to get at least one ult orb under her belt to ensure the Toll de Force is online for the next one in case NMG Celeste do lose a lot of members. But to kick things off, aggressive already through halls, doors to open here, Hypers taking down the Null command in the hands of Clutch. And NMG Celeste still trying to hold on though for dear life.
Nice 2 shots from Akame though, just neutralizing that Hall's push, but the Spike has made the quick rotation. Taro knows that she has to take an early fight, but it seems like the rotations might actually come through the flank and through mid. Now there's actually some players that are looking towards those arches. But NMG Celeste, it's going to be tough if they don't isolate these fights for Taro. And Taro is not even able to find the first pick. Not even the rendezvous to get out. And there, it seems like this is trying to clear out the castle side. But still, it's only 1 player left standing. Not safe enough, I think, to pull out the Hunter's Fury. But maybe, I don't know if she has a really good choice here. Just has to give. NMG Celeste are fighting for that match point. Fighting to get up to 10. And in their buy round, they are able to hold on.
Yeah, in a 4v1 situation, you really don't have any options when it comes down to the Hunter's Fury, right? But at the very least, you see it on the side of NMG Celeste. They were still ready for it, even if Habibti did decide to pull it out in that occasion. You know, you had the double reflank to come through, just ensuring that she would be punished for them for it, and that NMG Celeste could secure the round win, regardless of the ult being popped or not. Like you mentioned, Solaire now looking in the danger zone there as far as money goes, so NMG Celeste, if able to win out an 11th round on the board, tying things up into overtime should look a lot easier.
Solaire looking for this aggressive B-side push. They already have that toxic screen down, but it seems like they've been really delayed by the poison orb. They're not really ready to aggress through it just yet, and they want to look at the elbow side, which is being protected by only a singular trademark. And Taro coming from the bottom of mid, trying to clear up some space. The Spike also with her, trying to head towards a potential hit onto the A site, but the rotations have been made. NMG Celeste are definitely hovering towards the other side of the map now.
You can even see Teddy is Fluffy just toxic screen in hand, poison ready to cut off A if needed. The 0 point to come through, I don't think gleans any information there towards elbow, but shots fired definitely will. Hypers again with the relay bolt. And the high gear onto sight,
no
but
way.
a pixel there for Akame to secure this pick down on Leia. Now pushing in towards B, looking a lot scarier. Akame finds so much time for the team, but it doesn't matter. Hyper shut down as well. Solaire slowly falling apart.
Spike down, B.
Solaire only having 10 seconds left to plant. It's all left up to Habibi, and the Spike is down. It's just no shot here, but such a nice shot from Habibi. Still, 1v2 situation. All they need to do is not peek, and so low is Habibi. Teddy finding that last kill, and Solaire. Suddenly, this is looking like an overtime situation. They barely have any money to buy back in.
At the very least, you do have that Hunter's Fury available here for Habibti, so it could be really nice for that zoning potential for an aggression towards site. And then you got a couple almost on the board there for Solaire too. Hypers could get that overdrive up, toss a gun over towards a teammate, but as far as NMG Celeste goes, okay, Teddy's actually decided to pull out a judge for this round here at Tala, considering that the Viper's pit was popped on.
Oh yeah, that judge is definitely going to be a scary weapon, but it seems like instead they're going for the A push instead. From the double doors, they have that fast lane to get themselves towards that site, and the relay bolts now are going to try and isolate some fights and at least concuss a few, but no, 2 players go down, both Hypers and Shy, and now Clutch complete control of the Spike from Solaire.
Droning up. Oh no, no. The trigger discipline Leia could be good for at least 2. We'll get a 3rd though. no one's looking, and Solaire just might shut this down in a really awkward fashion here for NMG. Celeste, Leia with that last pickup as well secures the 4K 13-11.
I definitely did not expect that from Leah. It was just such a good flank, such good positioning to hop up from Ness. Mid just completely uncontested after the rotations were made. And it's also the pop flashes, the Hunter's Fury to try and distract, reposition to get that last pick. Honestly, chef's kiss from Leia. I mean, now we go to map 2 though, and it's going to be Icebox, which is a map that we saw Solaire struggle a lot more on. So what do you think? Do you think they'll be able to take this one 2-0?
I honestly, no. I feel like we would go to a third matchup just because of the way it's been running. NMG Celeste, they've done really good jobs at like adapting to the playstyle of Solaire there. But again, I do want to go back to that last round. Not only was the lurk huge from Leia, but it was also the kill prioritization, leaving the Sova GG for last in that situation when she was in the middle of ulting and whatnot. Not able to get those trades off was exactly how they sealed the deal there in that last round. But 13-11, I think Icebox is going to be another tight matchup, but I think NMG Celeste can take that one home, and I think we'd go to a third match.
Well, predictions, we are going to see if that one comes true in a very little bit. After we take a short break, we will be back with Icebox, so see you then.
Oh, then gets empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it. Fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let off the rules, cause that's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Touch me, are you in it? Don't say what you're seeing, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet